What's going on, guys? Check here another awesome Blu-ray purchase. Today I have a new release from Shout Factory, and this is one I was really excited about because it's a film I've always wanted to see. I only knew it from the trailer that I had seen on, I think the first time I saw it was on the trailer compilation, the 42nd Street Forever. I think it was Volume 1 that I saw that, and that is from 1977, Rolling Thunder. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Shout Factory did release the Blu-ray of this back in 2013, I believe. I never picked it up for whatever reason. Never got around to it. They just released this on 4K, and I was able to finally, it seemed to me it was releasing at 4K, it's time to pick it up and get it, and I finally got a chance to sit down and watch it. And like I said, I've been wanting to see this film for some of that trailer that has struck me. I don't know why. Just the idea, the premise in the trailer is it comes off across as basically it's a revenge film, Vietnam revenge film. That's what how it plays in the trailer. They show William Devane arriving, and bad things happen to him, and hangs out with buddy Tommy Lee Jones. They're going to kill people. That's the gist of the trailer, and it's not too far from it, honestly. But there's a little more to it in that. To break it down, William Devane plays Charles Rain, him along with Tommy Lee Jones as John Vorden. I can't remember how exactly to pronounce his last name. But they're both POWs, and they're coming back home to San Antonio after being away in Vietnam POWs for 7 years, and they've endured torture and obviously the whole crazy trauma they've gone through, and they're being brought home to this hero's welcome. And right away you get the sense, it's a weird juxtaposition because you have the marching band team. They're all playing the celebration music as the plane is flying in, and you have this song called San Antone, basically coming home. It seems upbeat. It's very haunting, sweet melody. It almost sounds like John Denver. It's not John Denver. I can't remember the artist's name, but it does sound a lot like John Denver. But everybody's happy or applauding these heroes. But in the plane, you have William Devane and Tommy Lee Jones, and it's basically very stoic. They're quiet. And Tommy Lee Jones makes the point, like, I don't think I can go down and face all these people. And William Devane says, well, just put on your sunglasses, which is an interesting point as the movie goes on. The sunglasses actually play a very subtle but important part of the William Devane character. I'll get to in a minute. So, heroes welcome, but you can tell they're just not. They're obviously dealing with a lot of PTSD. Tommy Lee Jones' character goes back to his wife and their, as a step family, I guess, and he just seems so out of place and awkward. William Devane, meets up with his wife and his young son. You find out that he left when his son was like 18 months old, so his son doesn't really know him, and it's just a really awkward relationship for his son and for the William Devane character as well. As he comes home, he's trying to adjust to he's used to living in the POW camp and being tortured. So he's kind of a very isolated person. But also, when he comes home, he finds out that his wife basically tells him that she's fallen in love with another man. And basically she didn't know. And it's like you don't feel, you're not angry because you understand it. Since he's gone for 7 years, she didn't know if he was alive or dead. Her life had to go on. And it wasn't, from what it sounded like, it wasn't until just recently they found out he was even alive. And so there's this conflict. So again, she's not really a bad person, just lived her life. And I think, the William Devane's character understands that. And, he's very stoic. But it's so weird, his performance, because he's so, he's very stoic. Nothing really phases him. He's just kind of, you can tell he's like checked out in a lot of ways. But I mean, you can tell he's come to accept this is how it is, and he has no animosity towards his wife and the police officer friend, whatever that's she's in love with now. All he basically wants is to be with his son and get to know his son again, and deal with the trauma. As he speaks to a psychiatrist briefly, who in a cameo role by Dabney Coleman, which he's basically again is trying to. He's not worried about anything else. Just trying to sort out his life. As part of this hero's welcome, a big thing they said he's the San Antonio. I can't remember who it was, like an apartment or something or other, bank, I can't remember. But they gave him this gift of $1 silver for every day he was away, which comes up to like, a big chunk of change. And it's kind of a weird gift, but they give it to him, and then the girl gives it to him. It's played by Linda Hayes, and she's, when wearing his like bracelet the whole time he was gone, I guess it's some kind of commemorative bracelet she gives it back to him, and basically representing, him as, fallen, or, just a prisoner of war. I don't know what she basically, she's basically, carrying, his memory while he's away, kind of being his support until he got back, or keeping his memory alive, something along the lines. I'm not really quite sure, but you get the gist. But of course, you can tell she's kind of fascinated with him too. So after all this, cut to the chase, they're a couple bad dudes, a big sweaty Texan, played by James Best. That's right, Roscoe P. Coltrane himself. And a really slimy, sweaty, and that's something you can tell. San Antonio feels hot. This movie takes place a lot in San Antonio and Mexico, and there's a lot of, it's hot, people are sweating, it just feels hot. And James Best really has it because he's just sweating. But they want those silver dollars that, William Dane was given. And they're threatening him, basically, beat him, torture him to find out, where the money is. And of course, William Devane isn't fazed by any of this. He's been through 7 years of torture. Like, what are these guys doing to him? And they try and torture him, and nothing. He's just cold dead. And it's really irritating James Best, or Roscoe, to the point where they're going to figure out, they're going to make him talk. They decide to, spoiler alert, and obviously if you've seen the poster, I've seen the trailer, this is coming. It's kind of the hook of the movie, if you will. They disfigure his hand in a garbage disposal, which, from what I understand, was a lot more graphic originally, but that was cut out. Or test audiences just couldn't handle it. But again, he is so checked out, the William Devane character, that this doesn't even faze him. I mean, he makes a point when he's talking to the flashing back, when he's having a discussion with the man who his wife is, basically in love with now, because they're friends and are talking about his time and his torture, what he went through. And there's this really weird scene where he basically says, well, you want to know what they did? And he shows him how they tied him up with the rope and put his hands up behind his back real tight, and then he would pull the arms up over his head, and he was like, yeah, you gotta pull it tighter till you hear the bone, almost his bones crack. It's really disturbing because he's making this guy do it, he can't do it anymore. And he says the point, it was like, I don't know how you did that. He's like, you learn to love the rope. You learn to love the people giving you the pain, then they can't hurt you anymore. It's really twisted. You see again what he's had to endure, what he's gone through to make that 7 years as a POW. So after he's maimed, his wife and son walk in, and son immediately gives it the money. Here, just let my dad go. And James Best and his cronies, they kill the wife and kid anyway. Just gun them down. And they get off, or go off with the money. So now you have William Devane, who, again, he's basically, this is, recovering, and his whole, at first he seems like he has no feelings about it whatsoever. He realizes his plotting is to find these men and get revenge. And that's, all going, that's the whole point. And that's where, he's still searching for these men. He has the Linda Haynes, Linda Haynes character help him out. And eventually he recruits, Tom Lee Jones to help him out, which is, Tom Lee Jones, gives, it was very early, 1977 is a very early Tom Lee Jones role. but he gives a really great performance. He really comes off the screen. Because if early on you see him, he's just basically, again, he looks lost. He doesn't crack a smile. He is just sullen. You know, he tells he's obviously, even more so than William Devane's character, Tommy Lee Jones has been through some stuff in Vietnam. And it's really him. He comes home, he just looks lost. There's a scene where William Devane comes to his home, and he's sitting with the Tommy Lee Jones family, and they're just chatting, about mundane stuff. Excuse me. What's interesting, his Tommy Lee Jones' brother-in-law is played by Paul A. Partain, who you might recognize as Franklin from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre with a mustache and walking. But it's the first thing you meant to realize that I recognize that voice, and I'm like, oh my god, that's Franklin. You can't miss that voice, even with that mustache. Yeah, I recognize Franklin. But Tommy Lee Jones' character, he just looks lost. Like, what am I doing here? This is, until the point where, and this is great, where William Devane tells, hey, I found the guys, and they're at, and that it's like a light switch goes off in Tommy Lee Jones. It's in the trailer. You see it where he's like, yeah, I found him, and it's like, who? The man who killed my son. And Tommy Lee Jones, without him missing a beat, says, let me get my stuff. And it's like he's clicked. He has a purpose again. He's knows what to do. It's amazing. It's his, and you'll see him when the big climax at the end, when his awesome stunts, choreographed stunt thing. It's great, and Tommy Lee Jones is he lights it. Don't have me see him smile in the film, but it's like you can tell this is what he knows. This is where he's meant to be. It's great, And so with the William Devane character, he stoked the whole thing. He really doesn't. He's basically emotional. See, he mentions that when he's talking to the Linda Haynes character, he's like, I see you. I'm looking right at you, but I don't see you. It's like they took that little part of me that was alive, they ripped it out of me. He refers to his time before being captured as, when I was alive, and had been dead ever since. And it really shows. And I think he wears the sunglasses. I mentioned this earlier. The sunglasses a lot throughout the movie, which is a way of almost like, disconnecting. Because always talk about, you hear the phrase, the eyes are, windows into the soul. And he's got the sunglasses on. It's almost like it's symbolic of that he is soulless at this point. He has no soul anymore. It's all ripped away from him from his, time in Vietnam and, the torture of the POW camp. And it's just a great, I'm sure it was intentional. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But it's a great touch because he's constantly wearing his sunglasses. You very seldom see his eyes, and that's a big thing. Again, it's nothing there. He's just a blank slate a lot. And it really comes across that way. So yeah, I mean, it's, like I said, a movie I've been wanting to see just from that trailer. And the trailer doesn't really do it justice. The trailer pretty much makes it, it's a straight out exploitation revenge flick. And this was originally a 20th Century Fox film, but I understand they were going to release it. They had it on their slate to release, but after test screenings, you realize that, it was a little too, some places a little too violent. And it's not really that violent. There's probably, there's like one, except the maiming scene isn't, it's more implied than shown, which is actually, it's pretty intense just from that. There's like one, stabs, he writes stuff with the hook, but it's not really gore, except one particular scene. A lot of gunshot, a lot of gun violence, it's a great shootout in the film. And that's really the gist of it. It's I'm not going to say it's slow, because it's not slow. And it moves at a pretty quick pace. But there's a lot of, there's a build-up. It's, not a slow burn, but because you've got a lot of action, going on. It really introduces you to character, they're feeling, then you get this, this great, the set piece of the setup of what, the catalyst for what's going to happen. Then you kind of have a slowdown as, when the Vane's character builds up trying to find these people. Then you have the rate hit you, the last 10 minutes of the film, whatever. And then they're out. And then, it's like the climax happens and the credits roll just like that. I mean, there's no coda, nothing. It just ends. And it kind of, just threw me. I was like, oh, well, that's the end, I guess. But as I was saying, the 20th Century Fox originally, had this distributed. We're going to distribute this film, but after the reaction to the screenings and just thinking it was a little too wild, they actually sold it to American International, which is right up their alley, if you know American International. And I think because of that, it probably didn't get promoted or very well, which is a shame. But, you know, I think it's become a bit of a cult classic for those who know it. As a, you know, like I said, it's on my 42nd Street Grindhouse trailers. And I think it's one of the first of the Vietnam PTSD genre, whatever. I don't know what you can kind of categorize that, but something along those lines. And it's a good one. It really is. I think it's got a very good story. I think it's shot beautifully. This is based on a story by Paul Schrader, who wrote this, after Taxi Driver, and he and Haywood, I might get the right name here. Hold on. Haywood Gould are credited as the screenwriters, but I guess it was more Haywood came in and helped fix up the Paul Schrader script to something more, but studio director wanted, directed by John Flynn. So yeah, I mean it's shot great. This is the 4K, and it looks great. I mean, it's nothing really going to stand out. The opening, a lot of the beginning of the film was a lot of very darkly lit, especially mostly in the home when the William Devane character comes home and confronts, but is with his wife, and they're having that discussion. It's very dark in there. Even when the bad guys come in and to try to rob him, it's a little darkly lit. But it looks good. It's only like 2.0 sound, but it sounded great. It's clear. There's not much of a soundtrack per se. The music is very minimal, and minus that song, the San Antonio, the music is very minimal, but it plays well because you're invested in the action, and it just kind of plays when it needs to. But it's very good. I am glad I got to check this out. I really enjoyed it a lot. And I wasn't quite sure what to expect. Because in the trailer, you just see, guy Vietnam comes, you get the hook. It's going to be crazy. And that's really not played up as much as you imply or you would think it would be. But it's enjoyable. It's a nice character study, honestly. At least for the Tommy Lee Jones and the William Devane characters. So, again, this is not Scream Factory, the Shouts, I think it was a Shout Select. Yes, Shout Select. This is number 159, if you're counting at home. And I said, I believe this was released initially on Blu-ray, so this is just their 4K release. No collector's edition, nothing like that. It's just basic, basic 4K Blu-ray. So there's the front with I think the same image that the Blu-ray might have had. Back, all your specs. And there are a few new features on here. And inside you've got Blu-ray 4K. So, disc 1's a 4K, and it includes a new 4K transfer from the 35mm original camera negative in Dolby Vision, and it looks great, like I said. You have new audio commentary with screenwriter, novelist Haywood Gould, and author, film historian C. Courtney Joyner. New audio commentary with filmmakers Jackson Stewart and Francis Gillespie. So that's all on the 4K. Now, disc 2 is basically, again, a 4K transfer. This is the actual Blu-ray, not the 4K. You have the same audio commentaries before. You have two new features. Lean and Mean, the early films of John Flynn interview with C. Courtney Joyner. And then Coming Home to War, Scoring Rolling Thunder, interview with composer Barry Dvorak. So those are the two new features. The rest of here, I believe, was poured over from the original Shout Factory Blu-ray. And that is The Making of Rolling Thunder, featuring interviews with actors William Devane and Tommy Lee Jones, and screenwriter Paul Schrader and Haywood Gould. Trailers from Hell, filmmaker Eli Roth on Rolling Thunder. And then, of course, the theatrical trailer, TV spot, radio spot, still gallery. So there's actually some good stuff on here. I did watch all the special features on here. The Lean and Mean, the early films of John Flynn, it was about 20 minutes. Just a quick overview of, again, his early films. A little bit about Rolling Thunder. It's kind of a small snippet of the rest. It's, again, just overall this early film. The score in Rolling Thunder, kind of the same thing. It's 20 minutes. It's basically, you know, informative. Nothing overly. I don't know. It's interesting, but nothing, over the top or crazy. It's, I don't know what I'm trying to say on it, but it's okay. The making of was interesting, again, especially when you get an interview with Tommy Lee Jones way into there. And this, again, it's an older one, except from probably about 2013, if that's when the original Blu-ray was released. But it's interesting to hear. It's interesting to hear Tommy Lee Jones interview talk about him, because I don't really see that very often. Especially something from this long, and him interview with Tommy Jones is great. And then the Trailers from Hell with Eli Roth. It's basically just going over the trailer and little commentary. Nothing always spectacular. You could probably find that on YouTube somewhere, honestly. And then of course the trailer, TV spots, all that. But so that is it. Again, from Shout Factory's this new 4K Blu-ray release of Rolling Thunder from 1977, starring William Devane, Tommy Lee Jones. I really enjoy it. I highly recommend it if you're into that. The Vietnam vet comes home, PTSD, but throwing some, killing revenge. And, if you're that kind of thing, go for it. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm kind of at a loss. It's late. But that is it for now. Jeez. If you enjoyed this, click thumbs up, share, subscribe. Leave me a comment below. Let me know if you've seen Rolling Thunder, if you picked up this 4K, if you have the Blu-ray, if you've even heard of Rolling Thunder. Or just say hi. I'll always take hi. So until next time, this is Chuck saying I will see you on the other side.